All right, everybody, welcome into a pregame show for Game 3 of Denver Nuggets versus Los Angeles Clippers here at Mile High Sports. I'm host Ryan Blackburn, very excited to be here and talk with a good friend, Zach Mikash, over at Denver Stiffs about this game, which is a very pivotal Game 3, I would say, Zach. Tied up 1-1. I'm very curious to see how the Nuggets handle themselves. We will see very shortly. But first and foremost, what are your thoughts initially on the series so far?
Well, I think it's more or less kind of what you could expect, right? The from a 4-5 seed, they've been neck and neck in both games. We've seen some great performances from Nikola Jokic. We've seen a great performance from Kawhi Leonard. Um, we we've seen that these two teams are probably. I said that the Nuggets would win in 7, but it feels like that. These are two teams. This is not going to be, I think, a 5-game series, regardless of who wins tonight. And they they're just it's almost a coin toss. I think more than any series in the entire NBA playoffs right now, this one is an absolute coin toss, 50-50. Either one of these teams could come out as the winner. It's not hard to see how they get there.
Yeah, it certainly feels like it that way. Uh, the first game obviously goes to overtime. Denver wins that one by 2. Very close matchup all the way through. Second game, Denver loses by 3. So their overall point differential in this one is -1. And I saw a couple of tweets here that were basically like, yeah, so their points are the same, their assists are the same, their rebounds are the same, their blocks are the same. Everything is the same so far between these two teams. They are very close. They're shooting very closely. And it does seem like Denver just got the better end of the turnover battle in game 1. And the Clippers got the better end of the turnover battle in game 2. Is it just going to come down to turnovers, Zach? What are we thinking here? Is that just the general indicator for this?
I mean, that's it's the simplest thing, right? What it is sometimes always the answer. And yeah, sure. If you don't hold on to the basketball, it's difficult to win the game. So you'd think that's going to be a good indicator for sure. Anytime you turn the ball over 20 times in a game, you're not likely to win. I don't have the stats in front of me on how many teams have won with 20 turnovers or more, but the record can't be good. So that's of course always going to be a priority for the Nuggets. They've also got to shoot better from the outside. Like they haven't got a lot of production, whether it's been Christian Brown. Russ has been Russ. He's hit some shots, some big ones, and he's also he shoots a sub 40% for a reason. They've not got a lot out of any of those bench guys. Or Jalen Pickett hasn't really had much opportunity, but hasn't been knocking down those shots. You haven't seen in Michael Porter Jr. played much better in game 2, but wasn't, only scored 15 points. So it was much more about what he was doing on the boards than what he was doing with his scoring. They haven't had that outside shooting element, I think. And that's hurting them because Kawhi Leonard has a huge game and you just, it's hard to keep up with him when he's playing like that, and you're not knocking down your threes.
100%. Kawhi Leonard was fantastic in game 2. He's just one of those guys that sometimes there's just very little that you can do with him. There's very little that you can do to bother somebody like that when he's taking and making contested shots. Denver probably didn't double and get the ball out of his hands enough in that situation, but they only gave up 105 points and they only gave up 110 in the game that they actually let those guys go. So in game 1, and they actually won that one. So it does feel like these margins are so thin, and Denver has to be worried about things like turnovers, things like free throw attempts and makes. Nikola Jokic obviously had 7 turnovers and 4 missed free throws in this last game. I kind of expect him to be much better going forward. This is one where you need your stars to show up on the road. It's kind of an old axiom, an old maxim that says your role players will play well at home in the playoffs, but you don't really know what's going to happen on the road. That's where you need your stars to shine. And I think it's time for Nikola Jokic to really put his stamp on this series.
Yeah, it's funny because I said we've seen some great performances from Nikola, and in by normal standards, yeah, we have. Like, he's got a triple double. He scored 29 points in game one. He was, for anybody else, really great. Absolutely what you would call a playoff high playoff performer. But we haven't seen that Nikola game yet, right? Like, we haven't seen him just absolutely exert his will and dominate the team against the he's playing against. And it's coming because this is Nikola Jokic. He's playing the same team now 3 games in a row. He's going to continue to figure out how they're trying to defend him, the different counters that they're using to what he's trying to do, and how he's going to counter back to that. He's a master of this chess game in basketball. So, is it going to be tonight? It would be great if it was, but sometime game 3 or game 4. Obviously, the Nuggets need to get one of these 2 games to not put themselves in a serious hole. And you're right. It's going to take an outstanding performance from someone. I look to Nikola first, but we also could. Jamal Murray is obviously a known playoff riser, and he hasn't had, I'd say, a game yet that's been, or a full like Jamal flurry yet. We haven't seen that like we've seen sometimes in the playoffs. So you get one of those performances out of one of those guys, just like the Clippers guy out of Kawhi Leonard in game 2. You get a good opportunity to win for sure. You give yourself a chance in the end of the game, if nothing else.
I mean, heck, why not both? Why not get both Nikola and Jamal
That's
going at
what
the
Dano
same
does.
time? How great would that be, man? Just get those guys rolling, and you don't need that much around those guys when they're playing at their apex, when they're playing with the intensity and the attention to detail that I think they showed, especially in that 2023 championship run, where you could count on those guys being great almost every single night, and knowing that they gave you
Right.
a big shot by the end of it. So I'm very curious to see what they both bring. But we did get some news pre-game that Michael Porter Jr., who was questionable on the injury report, is going to suit up, is going to play, and he is going to be in the starting lineup for the Nuggets in game 3. Obviously took that fall at the end of game 2, had somebody dive on the shoulder, and just kind of very uncomfortable situation. But David Adelman had a lot of positive things to say about just the way that he responded in game 2, his overall intensity, his pain tolerance, his toughness, things like that. What was your initial reaction to Michael Porter being available when that news came through?
It's great news to hear. Obviously, you want Mike out there, and you hope that he can affect the game like he did in game 2. Like I said, on the boards in particular, he was fantastic. You do worry with a shoulder injury, right? How is that going to affect his shooting? How is that going to affect his rebounding? His 2 primary skills that he brings to the table. That's going to be interesting to see, because playing and being 100% are 2 different things. And so where he's at right now and what he can do, that's going to be interesting to see. But if he's out there, obviously he feels, and the coaching team and the coaching staff feels, the training staff feels, everybody, that he can be effective on the court. So that's big for the Nuggets. We can need to continue to get those role players, like you've said about. They've got to make a difference in the game too, and that starts with like your biggest role players, which are Michael Porter Jr., Christian Brown, and Aaron Gordon. Those guys have to. You've got to get a big contribution out of at least one of them, if not 2. So having Mike out there, that gives you just that many more opportunities. I like him, and I think we've still yet to see him use his height as an advantage. Like, I know he can on offense, at least. Like I said, he's done well on defense, at least on the rebounding. So big news. Happy to have him out there, and it makes it that much more likely that the Denver Nuggets can steal one on the road here tonight.
And just kind of continuing on that, the Nuggets have such a limited rotation overall that when you don't have somebody like Michael Porter Jr., despite the fact that look, he hasn't had a perfect series. He had 3 points and four shots in game one. He had 15 points in game two. Like, could Denver replace that production? Sure. Would it be nice to have a guy of his talent, of his stature, somebody that can play and have 15 rebounds in a game? Absolutely. And they really proved that over the course of these last couple games, where when he was engaged, yeah, they had to really the Clippers had to really account for him. When the Nuggets didn't have Michael Porter out there on occasion, he was a big spacing threat, and when he's not out there, the Clippers can just load up on Jamal Murray, can load up on Nikola Jokic as much as possible, and it just does not surprise me that Denver has some shooting issues when Michael Porter is not on the floor. So I'm curious to see what they ultimately do. Curious to see how they handle this. But just give me your thoughts on Russell Westbrook so far in this series. He's somebody that has stepped up even when Michael Porter hasn't been out there. Russ has stepped up in a big way, hit some big shots. Obviously, the big one in game one. Thought he played well in game two, despite the fact that there was a loss and Denver had some issues without Jamal Murray on the floor. But give me your Russell Westbrook thoughts. What did you expect this from him, and what has he shown?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think he's shown that he can be an effective player off the bench for the Nuggets, even in the playoffs when the stakes are the highest. Though I think that was to be expected. I think Russ is still a former MVP, top player in the league. Yes, he's not that Russ anymore by any means, but he's still got those moments in him, and you can see it come out of him right when the stakes are highest. That's not necessarily shocking. What I think is shocking though is that he's been consistently good, right? We know that Russ he's a roller coaster. He just is. That's what it's like. That's what the Russ experience is all about. And that roller coaster has been so far basically up. I mean, there's been a couple of uh, little turnovers or missed layups here or there, but you like you said, big shots in game one, big steal in game one. In game two, the Clippers kind of flat out dared him to shoot that corner three, and a couple times in big moments he knocked it down and really kind of gave the Nuggets some momentum when maybe they were starting to wane a little bit. So yeah, he's not perfect. He's 36-year-old Russell Westbrook, but is he filling a role right now in a positive way for the Denver Nuggets that they desperately need? And like you talk about with their, they don't have a ton of depth. They don't have a ton of scoring off the bench. Russ is their primary guy for that, and he's done a solid job of it. So as good as you could hope for, and just hope he can keep it up.
We will see whether he can. Want to let everybody know that's in the chat right now, if you're listening along, if you are paying attention to just what Mile High Sports has been about. Usually we would be at number 38 in this situation and hosting a watch party over there where our home base is. But right now, Altitude is currently over there. They're doing their own thing, but we will be there on Saturday for game four. Really excited to be able to be there. I will be there for the entire game, do another pregame show like this as well. And you can come over, hang out. We'll probably be out there on that porch, on that outdoor seating, barring weather.
It'd be beautiful on
And
Saturday.
we've got a whole bunch of our own signature beers, including the blood orange wheat, which I got to try over the course of these last couple of weeks. And let me tell you, it's pretty good, folks. Very excited for that one. So make sure if you're not knowing what you're going to do to watch some of these Nuggets games, watch some of these Avs games, make sure to go check out number 38. They are fantastic people over there, and you're going to get a good $15 pitcher deal. So make sure to go hang out. Okay, so
I have
go ahead.
just to say real quick, high of 71 degrees on Saturday. So I think that
Ooh.
patio is going to be the spot to be watching the Nuggets game this weekend.
The
I'll
place
be
to
there as well.
be.
So,
Very excited to hear it. That'll be good. We are always excited to go meet up with some folks that love to hang out with Mile High Sports, do the Denver Stiffs watch parties, things like that. I've been doing it for a long time, so always excited when we get to meet up with folks. They are why we do this thing, why we do this job.
absolutely.
Okay, so Denver's going on the road for the first time. Your first impressions of Intuit Dome and just the first year that they've had. Looks like Steve Ballmer's kind of turning some people around to be Steve Ballmer fans based off of how the Clippers have kind of run their stuff.
No, yeah, like Steve Ballmer is kind of that dream owner, right? He's the guy who's basically like, I'm not here to make money off of my basketball franchise. I'm here because basketball is cool, and so is owning a basketball franchise. And like, I have a gazillion dollars, so like, why not? I'm just gonna make my basketball team that I own the coolest. And he's really done a great job with it. I've Intuit Dome. I haven't been there yet, obviously, but I want to get out there. Probably next year, I'm thinking on and get out to LA and check it out. And I'm not a huge fan of LA, but I want to go see that dome because you hear all the cool things about the fan wall and stuff like that. Can I sneak in to the fan wall? Like, how are they going to check my credentials? Can I have like a Denver Stiff shirt on under, like a Kawhi Leonard jersey and just rip that thing off? We'll see. That's for next season though. But for the Nuggets, you never know with like the Clippers, right? Because it's a Lakers town, so you're like, how is that fan base going to show out? But fans show out when teams are good, and there's a ton of people in LA. There's a ton of Clippers fans, whether people believe it or not. I expect them to be out there to be rambunctious and for it to be a tough environment. And sometimes those guys feed off that. Like a guy like Jamal Murray, I feel like can very much feed off that. There you go. They're gonna have horse heads on the Intuit for Nicole. See, like that's just it, man. Like that's cool. That's the type of stuff that Steve Ballmer
I
does.
love
But
it.
yeah, it's gonna be obviously a rowdy environment.
Shout out Katie Wingy for showing those off. The Clippers are using some distraction tactics on Nikola Jokic. I think they sense a little weakness. He missed 4 free throws. What are they going to do? How can you get under the skin of Nikola Jokic? Well, you bring out a horse's head, and we'll see whether that actually translates a little bit. But just a very interesting way for them to kind of, I don't know, like it's supposed to be fun, right? It's supposed to be like, that's such a completely
Exactly.
innocent, reasonable thing for them to do in terms of like, hey, we're going to have fun with this. We're going to try to distract you, and we're going to be a respectful, good crowd. And I hope that it stays respectful. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, exactly. As long as it stays respectful, which, I don't have any reason. Again, it's a Clippers crowd, so it's a little bit, a little bit kind of different than what maybe you would expect from like a Lakers crowd. Not to say Lakers fans are terrible. I mean, they are, but whatever. But I think it's going to still be a matter of just going down and executing on the court. This is a team who has kind of shown that they they perform when they've got an environment or a situation where it actually takes quite a bit of focus, right? They're a team that has an outstanding record on back to backs. They're in a team that has a pretty darn good record on the road. So they've shown that they can win in these type of situations, and they just got to be prepared for a playoff environment, and it's always a little bit off putting, right? That first road game in the playoff environment, especially for some maybe these younger guys who haven't seen it as much. But most of these guys that are playing for the Denver Nuggets have been to the pinnacle and back, right? So they know what
Yeah.
to expect. So I don't think it'll affect them all that much. Horse
Hopefully
heads, though, I don't
so.
know. That is new, so we'll see.
Are you confused as to why this game's on NBA TV tonight?
Uh, Probably not as much as other people, right? Because like again, it's the 4-5, right? There's not like that super flashiness. Like, yes, we want Nikola Jokic to be flashy because he's a three-time MVP. But like his whole like brand is built off not being flashy in any way, like and in not having a brand. So
Yeah.
I get why, like, from the NBA standpoint, you're like, all right, that's a tougher guy to market, no matter how good he is. And then it's the little brother team in LA with Kawhi Leonard, who's also one of like the most unassuming, like ho hum superstars you have. Like the two probably the most boring superstars you have in the league in terms of like personality, right? And stuff like that is who you have. I get it. It's a shame because it's fantastic basketball, and it's two really good teams who are very evenly matched and playing great games against each other. But from a from a marketing standpoint, no, I understand. I guess the only argument you can make is that Los Angeles is a huge market, so maybe that's why it shouldn't be on NBA TV.
Yeah, I mean, hey, when you have to put on John Morant and the Grizzlies, then you got to do it. But hey, I mean,
You got to do it. That's it.
they're up 10 right now
No, but I
over
mean, but
OKC.
it's the Thunder, right? Like the Thunder are the number one seed. They're the sort of young like up and coming story right now in the NBA. So I get why you want to feature them as the late
Yeah,
night game.
I believe me, I get it too. It's not something that I'm annoyed. The only reason I'm annoyed is because of how many hoops the Nuggets fans now have to jump through just to be able to get this game. But it is what it is. Everybody's trying to figure it out. So we'll like we've only got a couple minutes here before this game starts. So I want to get your prediction real quick, and then I'll wrap it up with a prediction of my own. Where do you see this game going tonight? And do you think the Nuggets can get it done?
I do, yeah, I do think they can get it done. The Nuggets are a team who doesn't lose back-to-back games in the playoffs often. So they're a team who's going to yeah.
New Mexico is
They're I think
crazy.
they're going to get it done. Exactly. I think they're going to be it's going to be close. I don't expect any team to get up by much. It'd be great if the Nuggets blew them out, but I think they get it done in like a 108-104 type of fashion.
Yeah. Hey, that would be good if they're able to do it. I'm excited to see whether they can make it happen. I don't think that Denver's going to win tonight. I actually am shockingly a little bit more
Ooh,
pessimistic. But like, hey, I am expecting this game to be really
for the yin
good
and the
until I think the Clippers kind of just like I don't think they're gonna break it open, but like I just think that they're when you add so much pressure to each of these teams, it's never like evenly distributed through the entire time. Like there's often a blowout one direction or the other. So I kind of think that it kind of goes that way this night. But who knows? If I'm wrong and if the Nuggets are the team that comes out on top, then you can clown me in the comments. I'm so ready for it. It'll be great.
or you can also give me like the thumbs up and be like, look, Zach the genius over here. He knew it from the beginning.
I love it. Well, hey, everybody, make sure to have a good game tonight. And don't forget, Mile High Sports and number 38 will be coming together on a watch party on Saturday. Make sure to go check out and see the new Mile High Sports studio when you're down there. It looks awesome. Everybody, have a great game tonight. And we will talk to you guys very soon.